What if I told you there are trains out there moving faster than some small aircraft? I mean, genuinely. We're talking about ground vehicles, things on tracks. Going 430 kilometers an hour, that is absolutely insane to me. And honestly, I've been obsessing over this for a while now because I had no idea how fast these things actually go in real daily service. Not test speeds. Not some engineer in a lab going, yeah, we hit 600 once. I mean actual passengers, sitting in actual seats, watching actual countryside blur past at speeds that make no sense whatsoever. So today I want to count down the fastest high-speed trains currently operating or coming very soon, because some of what's in development right now is going to genuinely melt your brain. And mine too, frankly. I'm not above admitting that. Kicking things off, we've got to talk about the technology first, because without understanding it, none of the numbers actually mean anything. Traditional high-speed rail works by putting a really powerful electric motor on steel wheels on a dedicated track. Simple enough. But when you get past about 300 kilometers an hour, air resistance becomes your worst enemy. The energy required to push through air at those speeds goes up exponentially, and that's why modern high-speed trains have these incredibly long aerodynamic noses, some stretching 15 meters, just to slice through the air without creating a massive pressure wave. Japan's E5 Shinkansen has this 15-meter nose they call the Kingfisher nose, specifically designed so the train doesn't create a sonic boom every single time it enters a tunnel. Because yes, that is actually a real problem. Without it, the pressure wave would literally damage the train, which seems like a bad day for everyone involved. Now, speaking of Japan and the Shinkansen, the E5 series currently runs at 320 kilometers an hour on the Tohoku and Hokkaido lines. 320. That's the operational speed, not a record run, just a regular Tuesday. The thing that gets me about Japan's entire rail system isn't even the speed, though. It's the safety record. Since 1964, the Shinkansen has carried over 10 billion passengers. That's like taking the entire world population and putting them on a bullet train 1.5 times over. 0 passenger fatalities from derailments. None. I genuinely don't know what kind of engineering sorcery that is, but it makes me feel slightly embarrassed about every flight delay I've ever complained about. The E5 fits 731 passengers, runs on active suspension, and has seismic safety controls that automatically slow the train during earthquakes. Just casually. No big deal. Sliding into our next contender, we've got China's CR400 Fuxing Hao. And I cannot stress enough how much China has absolutely dominated high-speed rail. It's not even close. China's network accounts for over 2/3 of all high-speed rail on the entire planet right now. The CR400 runs at 350 kilometers per hour in regular commercial service. Between Beijing and Shanghai, 1,318 kilometers. Done in about 4.5 hours. The train fits over 1,000 passengers in a 16-car configuration, uses 25% less energy than older Chinese models, and China has more than 2,500 of these things running. That's not a train. That's basically a national transit grid that moves faster than anything the rest of the world thought was even possible 10 years ago. I mean, where do you even start with that? But wait, China isn't done. They're currently testing the CR450, which is designed to run commercially at 400 kilometers an hour. 400. That's 80 kilometers an hour faster than anything else on conventional rails right now. Engineers completely reshaped the nose, covered the bogies underneath to cut drag, added carbon fiber and magnesium alloys to drop weight, and installed over 4,000 onboard sensors monitoring basically everything in real time. The noise reduction work alone is remarkable, because at 400 kilometers an hour, a train generates a truly unreasonable amount of sound. They've dealt with that apparently. I'm not entirely sure how, but I deeply respect it. Once this thing enters service, China will be operating the fastest conventional rail train on Earth, by a margin that's genuinely embarrassing for everyone else. But now, France. The TGV. The pioneer of European high-speed rail, launched back in 1981 at a time when most countries were still debating whether fast trains were even worth the investment. In regular service, TGV trains cruise at 320 kilometers per hour, connecting France to Belgium, Germany, Italy, and Spain, with a network stretching over 2,800 kilometers of high-speed line. But here's the thing that makes the TGV legendary in a slightly different way. In 2007, a specially prepared TGV POS hit 574.8 kilometers an hour during a test run, on regular rails, with actual wheels touching actual track. Not floating, not some exotic magnetic system, just a train, going 574 kilometers an hour. That remains the absolute fastest a conventional wheeled train has ever moved anywhere on Earth, and I find that completely unhinged in the best possible way. Which brings us to Maglev. Specifically, the Shanghai Maglev, which currently holds the title of the fastest passenger-carrying train in regular commercial service anywhere in the world. It peaks at 431 kilometers an hour. The entire route is only 30 kilometers long, connecting Pudong Airport to the edge of downtown Shanghai, and it covers that in about 7.5 minutes. 7.5 minutes. I've spent longer waiting for a coffee. The system uses German Transrapid technology, floating about a centimeter off the guideway with no contact, no friction, essentially no wheel noise, just this eerie smooth acceleration that apparently feels like nothing you've experienced on any other vehicle. It cost over $1 billion for just those 30 kilometers, and they've never extended it because of costs and public concerns about electromagnetic effects. So it just sits there, being the fastest commercial train on the planet, going nowhere new, which is actually kind of hilarious. And then there's the L0 series, Japan's experimental superconducting maglev, that in 2015 hit 603 kilometers an hour, which is a Guinness World Record and also sounds completely made up. It's not made up. The commercial version is planned to connect Tokyo to Nagoya in just 40 minutes, a trip that currently takes around 100 minutes on the fastest Shinkansen. The project has already cost the equivalent of about 60 billion euros and has been delayed from its original 2027 target, with a realistic opening somewhere between 2034 and 2035. For something that will travel through mountain tunnels at 505 kilometers an hour with hundreds of people on board, I'll honestly take the delay. Maybe someday we'll actually get to ride one of these things on the channel. So thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys tomorrow as always, and good night. Special thanks goes out to my members, my supporters, Guns Killer R27, James Durham, That Dude, Anime Gods of Gaming, Derek, Insider Plane, Nishijitsu Fighter, Professional Jamal, Rylan Williams, and New York. You've got beautiful names.